Rio de Janeiro native asked for a main event, and he got one. But can he deliver tomorrow on home soil? Enter Eric Anders. This time last week, the former college football standout was at home thinking he had a free weekend. But when the call came, ya boy accepted the challenge and hit the road. One is in the featured prelim, the other in the co-main event. They aren't related, but Charles and Alex Oliveira are 2 of 9 Brazilians set to face off against foreigners tomorrow night on Fox Sports. With a rich history in the sport, Brazilians are known to be incredibly passionate about their UFC. They'll have a host of countrymen to cheer for tomorrow night. The FS1 UFC Fight Night weigh-in show starts now. Boa tarde. They are in Sao Paulo. We are in the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles. I am Karen Bryant alongside a couple of guys who know what it's like both inside the octagon and octagon side. Of course, former bantamweight champion, Mr. Dominic Cruz, top lightweight, Mr. Paul Felder, and we've got Lurasenko on location for us in Brazil. And gentlemen, really, it is a question I'll ask for both of you. I'll start with you, Paul, but what's the update on the return to action date for you guys?
Well, I visited the doctor a couple days ago, about 90% cleared. The only thing they don't want me doing quite yet is full contact sparring. They don't want me blocking kicks with that arm quite yet, but as far as punching things, hitting bags, doing pretty much everything, I'm good to go.
Nice.
Congrats, right on track. For me, I'm looking to see when the champion of the division is the guy that I want to face. Everybody knows that, so I'll see when he decides to get active. He fought once this year. I think he'll probably get another one in before the end of the year, hopefully, if he wants to keep the division moving. And I'll be on that card, hopefully.
All right, well, let's see what happens. Fingers crossed for both of you guys. But, folks, let's get to the action for tomorrow night. One thing we do need to mention is that Renan Barão did miss weight, this time by 5.75 pounds. So 30% of his purse is going to go to his opponent, UFC newcomer Andre Ewell. We are going to have more on those repercussions later in the show. But, Dom, let's get to our main event. It has changed a little bit from what was originally scheduled. Jimmy Manuwa had to drop out. In stepped Eric Anders just on a week's notice. He's going to face Thiago Santos, who's really putting things together lately. He has won 5 of his last 6, and he's got 4 knockouts in there. So why is the Brazilian Thiago Santos so special?
Well, what makes him special is the fact that he can switch. He switches stance. He goes left to right, both stances. He's got certain tools in both stances, but more than anything, he sets up his big shots. He sets up a power overhand right if he wants to use it, or a left hook, and he also sets up his kicks. But he also uses his range very well. With all these things, he's a hard guy to deal with.
Yeah, and for Eric Anders, what I love about this guy, stepping in on short notice, you can tell he really wants to raise his stock in the sport, and he's dangerous everywhere. This guy's just learning, too. He's just getting started. It's only his 5th fight in the UFC. This is his 2nd main event. I think that speaks volumes for this guy and his character and how much he wants to move up the ladder in this division or at 205, 85. This guy doesn't care. He just wants to get in there, put on exciting fights, and get paid.
Yeah, Dom, do you like the idea of him moving up to 205 for this short notice fight?
Well, I think if anybody can do it, it's somebody with the kind of power that he possesses. Eric Anders, and he's a southpaw, so that's tricky for guys to adjust to on the fly. But the way that he's been punching people, why not?
Yeah, he's dangerous, man. If he lays that left hand on you, he'll put you down. But he's also shown that he's versatile. He can take you down. He looks for submissions. He says that his ground game is actually where he started out and got into MMA to start things off.
Well, we'll see if we see any of that. Last time we saw him, it was an incredible head kick knockout. Folks, we are done here for now. We are going to send it to Brazil for the ceremonial weigh-ins. Hodges Lima has got the mic.
Hello, everybody around the world. Alô, galera de São Paulo. Vamos à cerimônia de pesagem do UFC. Santos versus Anders. Aqui estão nossas Octagon Girls. Camila Oliveira, Jenny Andrade, Luciana Andrade, Dave Shaw, diretor de Relações Internacionais do UFC, Mick Maynard, o homem que responsável pelo casamento das lutas, o matchmaker do UFC. E vamos começar a pesagem do UFC São Paulo. Você acompanhando também no UFC Fight Pass. Primeira luta, categoria peso palha, são as meninas. Women's Strawweight Division. Vem aí, Alex Chambers e Livinha Souza. A primeira aqui na balança. The first on the scale is Miss Alex Astro Girl Chambers!
Yeah, and for Alex Chambers, you know, at 39 years old, which surprised me, and we talked about that earlier today, she does not look like that at all. But I think tomorrow, is going to be really important for her to go out there and prove that she still belongs in this division, that she's still moving forward. She's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and people might know her from Team Pettis, when she was on The Ultimate Fighter, so looking for a big win tomorrow night.
Alex Chambers, e vem aí a sua adversária. Senhoras e senhores, recebam Livinha, the Brazilian gangster.
Well, you know, Sousa is a hungry debuter. She's coming and fighting in her home country of Brazil. She's 27 years old, out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Earned a degree in physiotherapy before she started fighting, and now here she is doing what she wanted to do, what she chose to do. She gave up the school, with the things she did in school in order to fight. Her strengths are judo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, 7 first-round finishes. That means she has tons of potential for this division.
Yeah, it is her UFC debut. This woman has thrown down in Invicta. She is very, very fun to watch. I think you can tell she's feisty.
She's a little angry.
Vamos para a pesagem da próxima luta que você também acompanha no UFC Fight Pass. Divisão dos meio-médios, Welterweight Division. Luigi Vendramini contra Eliseu Zaleski. O primeiro aqui na balança é Luigi, the Italian Stallion Vendramini.
As you heard, the Italian stallion speaks both English and Portuguese. He's just 22 years old, and he just received his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He might be needing it in Brazil. Normally he fights at lightweight, but he's making you know, a 170-pound debut for this one, just making the adjustment. Let's see how he does at this weight class moving up.
170.5, 77.3 quilos, 77 quilos e 300 gramas para Luigi Vendramini. Senhoras e senhores, recebam Eliseu
Zaleski dos Santos has somewhat under the radar built up a ton of momentum inside the welterweight division. He has won 9 of his last 10 fights. He's on a 5-fight win streak. And to top it all off, he is coming off the biggest knockout of his career at UFC 224.
77.3 quilos, 77 quilos e 300 gramas para Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos.
Not too much of a size difference between these two guys.
I see a pretty big size difference.
Yeah, now you know what, when they step back, the arms.
Hector Lombard contra Thales Leites. O primeiro aqui na balança é Mr. Hector Lombard.
Hector Lombard is known for being the year 2000 Cuban Olympian in judo. He's currently not doing so well on the way that he's been showing up in his fights, so this is a big fight for him. He's up against the wall. Let's see how he can show up to perform. He's a former champ in other organizations, so we know the capabilities of Hector Lombard. As you can see from his physique, he's obviously lacking no power, and that comes with 22 knockouts to his record.
Hector Lombard is seu adversário, and his opponent is Mr. Thales Leites.
Yeah, well, I mean, Thales Leites, anybody that follows MMA and has been following the sport for long knows this man. He's been in there with the best in the world, including Anderson Silva, for a title fight. And he's got to get in there and he's got to get back to his winning ways. I feel like this is one of those fights where one of these guys might be packing up and going home. It's a big night for both these guys tomorrow night to see who wants to stay on the roster and keep moving forward in this division.
Senhoras e senhores, vamos agora para a categoria peso mosca. São as meninas Women's Flyweight Division. Julian Robertson contra Mayra Bueno Silva. Aqui na balança, a primeira é Miss Julian the Savage.
American top team's Julian Robertson is no stranger to handling her business in enemy territory. She did so in spectacular fashion in Liverpool against a hometown favorite, and she looks to do the same thing here in Sao Paulo, Brazil on short notice.
The official weight is 125, 56.7 kilos, 56
We've got Randa Marcos on the card, who's usually known for her red hair too, so. Oh, let's get on Julian.
Vamos receber a sua adversária, her opponent. Vem aí, Mayra Shibata.
Well, yes, it is a home game for Mayra Bueno Silva. She does train out of Sao Paulo. Now, she is making her UFC debut, but we did see her on Dana White's Contender Series. She got a submission in the very first round. It only took her 1 minute and 2 seconds to get that sunk. So this is the one who definitely knows her way around the jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I called that fight. It was impressive.
Yeah.
Put her to sleep.
Yeah. And then didn't she run over to Dana and kind of demand the contract?
Yeah, she was excited, to say the least.
Big Nog was excited too, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun calling those fights for these guys.
Vamos agora para a pesagem na divisão dos meio-médios, Welterweight Division, Ben Saunders contra Sérgio Moraes. O primeiro aqui na balança, Mr. Ben Killa B. Saunders.
Ben Saunders, this is one of those guys, when you get linked up with him, if you end up in the clinch, he is a huge, tall welterweight, and he is not afraid to just smash your bodies with knees in the clinch to the body like he did to Ellenberger, upstairs to the chin. Dangerous guys, had some trouble back and forth with wins and losses, but coming off a big win, trying to put it together again, and man, for a welterweight, he is massive for this division.
Very long arms.
Yes. Quite the beard going on there.
Yeah, not bad.
300 gramas para Ben Saunders. E agora, galera, vamos receber Serginho de Panther.
And like you said, Paul, I mean, he has to like hang on people's Sanders in order to use his weight. And there's one guy you don't want to try to grab a hold of and hang on. It's Sergio Moraes. He's known for defeating Crone Gracie in 2008 at the World Jiu-Jitsu Championships. He was also on Tough Brazil with Team Wanderlei. So he's got lots of experience from the Ultimate Fighter, from his jiu-jitsu background. He's also got many pro fights. He trains at Evolve Thai, and his team's prepared him very well for this fight. I'm very curious to see if these guys turn into a grappling battle, and that's where fans get intrigued.
Yeah, but not afraid to throw down, all right, at all. Likes to throw bombs. Yeah.
That's what's fun about it. You're either going to see a war on the feet from these two, or it's going to be a grappling match.
Welcome back to LA. You can catch the next 4 bouts on the FS1 prelims at 8:30 Eastern tomorrow night, starting with Augusto Sakai against Chase Sherman. So, Paul, why don't you start us off with the Vanilla Gorilla?
Chase Sherman, you want to talk about a guy at heavyweight that likes to go out there and chuck leather, mix it up, throw down. This guy, whenever he's in a fight, it's back and forth. He's coming off some losses. He's got to get himself back together. He's actually training with Frank Lester, one of the guys that I know very well out of Jackson Wings. Likes to go out there for his training camp, and feels like that really prepares him, training up in that altitude. Feels like he gets better training partners when he goes to Jackson Wing. And you see him right there. He's hyped up for this fight. Does not care about fighting.
No, he's always fun on social media.
Yeah, he's fun.
Chase Sherman, vem aí o seu adversário, Augusto Sakai.
Heavyweight Augusto Sakai will be hitting the UFC scales for the first time after winning a contract on Contender Series Brazil just a little over a month ago. He's been fighting mostly in the U.S. for the past 4 years and says he is really excited to hear those Brazilian fans when he makes his UFC debut.
The official weight is 265.5. 120.4.
If you're curious, Mr. Sakai is the favorite at a -232, plus 180 for Chase Sherman. Chase might be winning the verbal assault, though, no?
I don't know.
No, I'm going to beat you up. No, I'm going to beat you up.
I think it was a different word than that, Dominic, but thanks for giving it to me.
First on the scale is Mr. Ryan Superman.
Don't find me. Ryan Spann. He's debuting and fighting out of Beaumont, Texas. Obviously not his first fight ever, but in the UFC, this is his debut. He's on a 4-fight win streak, though, coming in with 11 first-round finishes. Before he got to this pro status, he was 9-1 as an amateur, so that holds a lot of weight when you're coming over as a pro in the UFC. That gives you lots of experience.
Yeah, and he was on the Contender Series twice, lost his first one to Robertson, came back, got a big win, guillotine choke, and finished his opponent, and that's what got him the contract over. Yeah.
Gotta love the shush, too, because he knows the crowd's gonna boom after that.
So, Luis Henrique, now his nickname is KLB. I asked my Brazilian friends. They said it's actually in reference to the fact that he looks like somebody that was in a boy band called KLB. So that's what that signifies. But, you know, he's going to be fighting at 205 pounds. He has fought at heavyweight before, and he's saying he feels a lot better at light heavyweight. This is a man that was in with Francis Ngannou at one point. He did get knocked out, as a lot of people do, by Francis Ngannou, but now he's excited to sort of reinvent himself at 205 pounds, and he's saying that he expects to finish this fight before it gets to the third round.
It's gonna be a brawl on the feet, that one.
Na divisão dos leves, Lightweight Division, vão se enfrentar Ivan Dunham e Francisco Trinaldo. O primeiro aqui na balança é Mr. Ivan Dunham!
After 14 years as a pro fighter, 19 UFC fights, Evan Dunham will make his way to the scales for the last time tonight. He has had some memorable scraps with the who's who in the lightweight division and says he's looking forward to putting on a classic farewell performance.
The official weight is 156, 70.8 kilos, 70 kilos e 800 gramas.
Interesting to make that decision.
I was just going to say, yeah.
When you're fighting an animal like this man coming out right now. Francisco Masaranduba Trinaldo. I can say I shared the octagon with this animal, and he's every bit of that. When you look at this guy, he's intimidating looking, and I'm telling you, when he's in there, his fighting style backs that up. He hits hard, but more importantly, I think he's a pretty smart fighter, especially with his game plans. He looks like a beast. He looks like he's just, going to be overly aggressive, but he's not. He comes in with a very clear plan, and he sticks to it, and it's different for each opponent. You see him, and he shows his well-roundedness, great on the ground, and hits like a brick house.
He's highly underrated.
And he's 40 years old and still very dangerous. 40.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Masada.
Rearrange my
nothing
face a
on
little
him.
bit. I have a nice scar. Thanks, Francisco.
I hear the ladies like that stuff, though.
Hey, that's what they say.
Cristos, Giagos, Charles, do Bronx. O primeiro aqui na balança é o Mr. Cristos, the Spartan, Giagos.
Giagos started out as a cook in the kitchen before he came over to fighting. Now, he's turned himself into a boxer wrestler. He's fighting at a Hawthorne, California. He started at the age of 19 back in 2009. I mean, you do the math, he's been doing this a very long time. Obviously, built himself quite a resume. And let's see how he can match up in this next UFC fight for himself.
70 quilos e 500 gramas para Cristos Giagos. E agora, galera, vamos receber Charles do Bronx, Oliveira.
Charles Oliveira. This man has a ton of post-fight bonuses because he is a submission king. But more importantly, he's not afraid to mix it up on his feet. In his last fight against Clay Guida, he really showed that. He looked fantastic on the feet, which made Clay shoot in for a sloppy takedown, and he took full advantage of it with the guillotine. I had the pleasure of also sharing the octagon with this man, and let me tell you, those submissions are for real, and I was lucky to get out of them. Good luck to Charles Oliveira.
And that is our featured prelim tomorrow. That is going to be a great fight. Welcome back to the studios, guys. You can check out the next 5 bouts tomorrow on FS1 at 10:30. Kicking off the main card will be strawweights Randa Marcos and Marina Rodriguez. Now, Paul, tell us about the undefeated Brazilian Rodriguez.
Well, again, I got to call her fight on Dana White's Brazilian Contender Series, and she actually made her opponent quit. If you go back and you watch that fight, she was piecing her up against the fence, landing a great combos, and the girl literally said, you know what, that's it, I don't want enough. And it was impressive because it looked like that girl still had some fight in her, but whatever she was hitting that girl with made her quit, and that was enough. So I'm excited for her UFC debut here tomorrow night.
15.5.
Very aggressive style. Good Muay Thai.
Para Marina Rodrigues. E sua adversária and her opponent is Miss Randa Quiet Storm Marcos.
Former Tough 20 semifinalist Randa Marcos will be making the quickest turnaround of her entire career tomorrow night. She's an excellent grappler, but she's been working very hard on her kicking defense and predominantly on her mental game.
Randa is a good fighter. The thing that kind of makes me a little crazy when I look at her fight, she's inconsistent. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win, literally.
Yeah.
And I just wonder what it is to get her over the hump to being more consistent.
Well, one thing I like that they said due to that, Karen, is she's working on her mental part of the game, and that's 100% mental when you're winning and losing, winning and losing. It's just in your head and you're missing something. So it sounds like you're trying to do something about it. The skills are there.
Entra Ewell e Renan Barão. O primeiro aqui na balança. The first on the scale is Mr. André, Mr. Highlight Ewell.
Andre Ewell he's an up-and-coming new guy that's facing Renan Barão. But this man right here is very dynamic, very long, very rangy, very lanky. He switches stance, he's very tricky, and he doesn't really show one move at a time. He mixes it together where it's extremely dynamic, and he'll be a fun add to this 135-pound division, especially starting off with a guy like Renan Barão. Very curious to see how Ewell shows up.
O seu adversário, senhoras e senhores, recebam Renan, the Baron
Renan Barão, no secret who he is, especially in Brazil. He trains at American Top Team right now. He's a former 3-time champion. He successfully defended the belt that many times. He's got 8 KOs to his name with 15 submissions. He's dangerous both on the feet and in grappling. Right now, though, he did miss weight by 6 pounds. That is a big deal. So 30% of his purse is going to go to the newcomer Ewell, and we're going to see how that shows up. I mean, does the weight hurt Renan? Does it help him? Most people who come in heavy win the fight, so we're going to see how this goes. I do wonder that.
I know, Don.
I really do. When you miss by that much weight, you wonder.
Especially with that statistic.
Yeah, exactly, the grappling.
Nogueira. I'm sorry, I'm a big Nogueira fan. Little Nog, Big Nog, love them both. This, of course, is Little Nog. You know, he is 42 years old. Now, he's been out of the game for about 22 months or so. And a lot of people are trying to say this is his last fight. My friends in Brazil are saying he hasn't said that. So I'm not sure why everybody else is putting that upon him. He did recently just have a new baby boy. He looks excited, ready to go. If folks want to get familiar with Little Nog, go look up the fight with Shogun back in Pride. Have yourself a good time.
E vem aí o seu adversário, Sam Smiling.
Well, he's smiling, which is what he does. Smiling Sam Alvey. This guy, he's a treat. Let's just say that. He's an interesting guy. He really is smiling all the time. He shows up. This guy does bring the fight, and he is capable of knocking anybody in this division out with that left hand.
Don't let the smile fool you.
He's a maniac to wear an American flag on his face fighting in Brazil, but hey, more power to you, Sam.
What an awesome matchup that the matchmakers put together here.
Yeah, I like this one a lot.
That's fun.
Nogueira does have good boxing, you know, so someone's getting knocked out.
Agreed. I agree. Don't forget, Nogueira could submit him, though. That guy's nasty on the ground. Nasty on the ground.
O primeiro aqui na balança é Carlo Cemento Pedersoli.
Carlo Pedersoli. Only his second fight in the UFC, and here he is this far up on the card. Speaks volumes to what they think about this guy and what he's capable of at 170. I think in his first fight, it took him a little while to get warmed up. If you go back and watch his debut, he wasn't really putting his strikes together, but as that fight went on, he really found his rhythm and dominated.
Regular questions I get is, what got you into fighting, Dominic? Well, I think it's the same thing for Alex Oliveira. Fighting kind of chose us. And what I mean by that is this guy used to fight outside of nightclubs all far too much around the age of 22. Someone saw him and said, man, you need to get an MMA, stop beating these people up out in the streets. He said, okay, I'll try it out. He had 2 pro Muay Thai fights, then went on to mixed martial arts. But before that, he was a professional bull rider. He fights bulls, he fights in nightclubs, he fights in the octagon. I mean, I think fighting is...
He's literally a wild man.
Yeah, I was saying before, I don't know at what point he became one of my favorite fighters, but he is.
Yeah.
The guy's awesome. And with that, let's take a closer look at both fighters in tomorrow's main event.
Eric Anders is no stranger to the big stage. He is no stranger to the bright lights. He says, I was made to fight. I found a home inside the octagon, and has he ever after what he showed this summer?
In that debut, that was like, okay, your boy can hit. Your boy can hit. I had zero hesitation taking this fight. I love this game. I love everything about it. So the fighter in me, without hesitation, accepted the fight. I don't care where it's at. Just get the ticket and I'm there.
Anders goes up top, has the kick that time. Oh, jeez! Eric Anders with the knockout win in the final 30 seconds.
Thiago Santos is dangerous with a capital D. This man has some serious knockout power and he loves to bang.
Com certeza foi uma má ideia pro Eric ter aceitado essa luta comigo em cima da hora, porque ele nunca lutou com um cara da minha qualidade e ele vai perceber que foi um erro no final da luta.
Oh! Down goes Posse, he's out! The walk-off knockout!
He's getting hammered, yes he is.
I think this fight definitely brings out the best of me. You know, it's a hostile environment. I see us both meeting in the middle of the octagon and trading punches and kicks, and someone's going to find themselves on their back at some point during this fight.
Com certeza essa luta vai acabar em nocaute. Eu vou mostrar ao mundo que eu posso fazer um estrago dentro da categoria meio pesado e eu ainda tenho muita lenha para queimar dentro do UFC.
I can take a lick, I can give it two, so, you know, we'll see who the last one standing is. You can expect the best Eric Anders in this fight.
All right, Paul, so let's talk about Eric Anders. The man is 11-1, like we said before, coming off a great head kick knockout. The last time he was in Brazil, he fought Lyoto Machida.
Yes, Eric, your boy Anders, does not shy away from the fight. And if you watched his last fight, yes, that head kick knockout, it was beautiful timing, first of all, the way he waited for Tim Williams to be posting and stepping up. And it was back and forth, and he showed a well-roundedness that really makes me think that he can move up far in this division, whether it be 205, wherever he wants to go, or back down to 185. He's showing an awareness and a fight knowledge that I think he didn't have when he first onto the scene. And obviously, the athleticism is there for Eric Anders all day.
He's facing Santos, though, he has 15 UFC fights alone. I mean, this guy's got tons of experience. His southpaw his southpaw left high kick is very sneaky because he'll stand conventional for a minute, get you thinking about the hands, switch stance right in the middle, and then fire that up there, and he throws it with reckless abandon. That hammer on the chest of his, I mean, it kind of tells the story. He's basically the hammer, and he tries to make every single person that he fights the nail. And I don't know if he can do that with a guy like Anders. That's why I love this fight, because Anders himself is so strong. So this is going to be fun to watch.
Welcome to Brazil, welcome to Sao Paulo. Anders, como é que foi para você ter sido convocado há poucos dias da luta para encarar um adversário tão duro quanto o Thiago Marreta na casa dele, diante da torcida do Marreta?
How was it for you getting the call last minute to come fight a guy as dangerous as he is here in Brazil?
Man, fighting's in my blood, it's in my DNA. So when Manoa fell out, these guys knew who to call.
Sabe, lutar tá no meu sangue, tá no DNA, então quando eles precisavam de um lutador, eles sabiam para quem eles tinham que ligar.
Boa sorte, Mr. Anders. Good luck, man. Vamos lá, Marretão. Thiago Marreta, senhoras e senhores. Marreta lutando numa categoria diferente da sua, subindo aí para os 93 quilos, encarando um desafio com um atleta que foi trocado em cima da hora para você enfrentar diante da sua torcida. Está se sentindo muito pressionado por uma vitória amanhã?
You're fighting a different weight class. You're fighting at 205 pounds against an athlete who was put a couple days ago against you. Do you feel the pressure?
Não tem pressão, eu tô feliz demais. Tá, meu irmão, a luta principal dentro do meu país. Só quero representar todo mundo, chegar lá, trazer essa vitória pro Brasil, se Deus quiser.
There's no pressure at all. I feel great. It's a main event in my country. I want to go out there and put a great fight for everyone.
Thiago Marreta, senhoras e senhores. Amanhã você acompanha o UFC.
All right, thanks so much, Hodges. All right, guys, we want to talk about this featured prelim stare down first. Paul, why don't you give us your thoughts on this one? Oliveira getting up in there.
Hey, I like it. You know, Oliveira's coming off a really impressive win in his last fight, and I think he's one of those dangerous guys at 155 pounds that on any given night, he can not only submit you, but submit you in spectacular fashion and rack up another bonus. So I like that he's getting a little heated, getting in that face. This guy's a contender at 155 pounds still.
Yeah, I think he's getting emboldened by the home crowd. Dominic, what about your thoughts on the headliners here?
Well, Santos versus Anders, I mean, you got to hand it to Anders for being able to fill this in. A lot of a lot of main events would just fall off, and Anders came in and stepped in on very short notice. 6 days against a guy like Santos with the size of Santos is impressive. But Anders is not shy because he knows the power he has in that left hand, and I think he's really gained a lot of confidence in the few fights that he's had with that.
And now, while he is the enemy, Eric Anders' wife actually is Brazilian, so at least he'll know what they're yelling in the crowd. I mean, I think he speaks some Portuguese, so...
His wife can help him at the end.
Yeah, that's true. Here's a look at tomorrow's schedule. You can go straight from college football to the pre-fight show at 7:30 Eastern on FS2. We've got prelims at 8:30. The main card is on FS1 at 10:30. Then stick around for the post-fight show immediately following the main event. But your home for right now is right here. From phone call to flight to the scale to the octagon, all in less than a week. How can Eric Anders rise to the occasion? I will ask the guys next. Plus, the UFC 229 presser went down yesterday in New York. You might have heard of it. A guy named Conor McGregor back in full form. We will share the highlights coming up on the weigh-in show.